Hello everybody, and welcome back to Khemia. We are back on Khemia. We had that fun conversation with Cassius and Virginia last time, right? Well, now we're back here with these fellas. Hopefully Skip does a flip, you know? After managing to pry Veterus from Brunus, my teacher and I have a solid 10-minute conversation on how one must behave on Khemia. It's a delicate balance, and I worry that I will be fretting over what Veterus is doing my entire time here. After reminding me that he's been waiting for this moment for over 10 times my own lifespan, he agrees to tone down his excitement at least a little bit. I glance at the entrance where Brunus, Neferu, and Aya had disappeared to, saying they'd be at the entrance when we decided to enter. Shall we join the rest of our party then?
Yes. I do want to warn you, though, Skip.
I turn to him. Of what, teacher? Though I try to keep my voice light, I am becoming a bit more impatient, waiting to rejoin Neferu and Aya again, still curious about his younger sibling. He lowers his voice, so I know he must know something he thinks is very important or interesting that he wants to say.
I know what he told you.
Veterus looks around.
Ahem.
Oh, not ahem.
Yes, Veterus.
His voice is projecting from an unseen speaker.
Oh, good. You're not in my brain anymore. Give us some privacy until we enter the palace, please.
Of course. I glance in the direction of the voice, ear twitching before my field of vision tilts wildly. Veterus reaching up to grab my arm to yank me down closer to his level. Ow, teacher, please just ask me to lean closer or...
I don't trust anyone here, Scipio. It's nothing I like. Wait, it's nothing I like what I...
It's nothing I like. No. It's nothing like. I'm adding words. There we go.
It's nothing like what I imagined it would be. Not in a good way. Something is very wrong.
It's very strange to have my teacher whispering hoarsely into my ear like this, but his urgency had me listening.
I know we told you to get close to Neferu, but make sure you do not sacrifice your own emotions for the Jackal, or any other Khemian. Again, something is wrong. We'll talk more tonight.
I straighten back up and nod, even though I'm unsure if it has to do with the suspiciously advanced technology or something else. I'm content to wait until later.
Now, let's head into the palace.
His reedy voice trembles slightly, betraying his suppressed excitement despite his sudden concern seconds earlier. Veterus is a strange wolf, no question about that, but he's rarely shown concern or worry for me, and that alone is enough for me to heed his advice. That's what that says. I look around at the empty courtyard for a moment longer, trying to see what Veterus might be so worried about, and I have to give up after a few seconds and follow him into the palace. Okay. Oh, well, there's a nifty background. I'm first hit with the smell of something herbal with a hint of spice to it, an unfamiliar incense I can't place. My focus on the walkway that stretches out before me is seeming to reach an impossible length. The distance seems excessive. Veterus waves his paw almost dismissively at the architecture.
Remember, Scipio, they use illusions to make their spaces seem larger than they are.
Oh, yes. Sure enough, I hear Brunus's voice, sounding much closer than I would have expected as we reach the end in under half a minute. Skip, we almost came out to look for you two. You know someone with fur as thick as a wolf is at risk of heat stroke out here. Oh, we were just enjoying the scenery of the architecture. Even the entrance is curious. Yes, it must be strange compared to Adastran architecture. Those who built the palace and other historical buildings on the planet did so based on the visions seen by early contact with our parents.
The Kemetarians are a mysterious bunch, aren't they?
Aren't all parents?
To different degrees, yes.
I quickly fill the silence as I feel Veterus almost trying to provoke the answer he wants out of Neferu, which isn't going to work. Well, I suppose with our parent, the Romanus, we know a little bit about them, such as their arrival to the galaxy in tandem with the Galenian. Brutus deciding he safely wasn't of interest to Veterus anymore, finally relaxes and speaks up.
Yeah, we know more about your parents than our own. But that's probably because of what happened between Adastra and Amorpha, right?
Probably. You're speaking of the attempt to interference by the Galenian and Romani during the Romanus, that's what it says, during the Third War with Amorpha.
Oh yes, when they stopped our stretch drive from working and lit up our skies with omens of old woven gods and pleas for peace. Maybe that's why we're so behind technologically. Parents with no self-control.
I just let Veterus talk at this point. While I know little about gathering information, maybe Veterus should have been learning himself. I believe they were well-intentioned, but desperate. The deep bond between Amorpha and Adastra's parents created intense emotional distress, to the point that they broke their promise to sapient agency. That war was especially horrific. If there was a time to step in and stop senseless killing, that would have been it.
Most, including myself, believe the Kemetarians are the de facto leader of the parents, and likely brought the Romanus and Galenians to heel shortly after. I believe. I mean, didn't Khemia broker peace between Amorpha and Adastra, right after that? But likely with the guidance of the parents, correct? You have a method of communicating with them, I assume?
Only pharaohs and appropriate officials know the answer to those questions. I step in again. The, Kemetarians, don't they have a close relationship with the Taharkans? Parents, the, Kashari? They didn't come from the same galaxy, did they? No, but they originated from the same uplifter, and by chance met in this galaxy hundreds of millennia later. Seemingly not as complex or as close a relationship on Amorpha's and Adastra's parents, but yes, some sort of bond developed earlier before this galaxy's history.
Which is why the Lions come to your aid to win the second war between Adastra and Khemia. They are the second most advanced siblings. That's rather curious, too. Well, yeah, but that's because the siblings are also close allies.
Veterus's clumsy and scattered attempts to seemingly make Khemian slip up is bewildering, and I'm having trouble following along myself. This talk of history, along with sibling parents, or relationships that are complex and hard to understand, reminds me that I don't need to understand. I'm part of the plan, yes, but a small part of this is apparently spanning the cosmic microsecond that is my life. Promised to sapient agency. I take advantage of the lull in the conversation to change the subject. Neferu, do you know where or when I should meet Aya? She said she wanted to have a private conversation with me. No idea, and she never thinks to tell anyone. Her duties require her to be elsewhere several times throughout the day. She'll show up again soon, though. I nod, and the conversation shifts to lighter things, such as when we can visit the city, and the news is surprising.
Basically, I was briefed by when we got here, and I guess a few extremist groups have become more extreme, Security will have to be tight, so probably no casual visits. Casual visits the city.
My heart sinks in pure disappointment, and it must show on my face.
Sorry, Skip. Wish they told me while we were on Adastra. Feels like the whole planet changed well.
Which groups, Brunus?
There's about 200,000 Amorphins on the planet, so that's gonna be a problem.
Wait, that many? You know they want Adastrans to be abandoned, if not completely eliminated, right?
There are a lot of Amorphin families who have lived here for generations. Refugees from the Second War, in fact. Still, before I left, a solid majority wanted a peaceful alliance with Adastra, but I guess they've been a bunch of protests over the past few months. I'll have to look into how the hell that happened.
I had forgotten about my desire to see the city now. Now it seems like our mission might not even be possible. It sounds like Khemia would have to risk its own security for the Alliance, and what a civilization would want that, would do that? What of Khemian groups and organizations?
Maybe we can talk about this.
What extremist groups are posing a threat to Adastran visitors?
There are a few, Nefidu, but as Brunus mentioned, the main concern is the Amorphins currently residing on Khemia. The children of Sahira are also a threat after an incident earlier yesterday that is currently under investigation and classified. We'll talk about it later, alright, Nef?
No need. What's wrong? Do you know about that group? I will tell you about it when we are in a better location. It's something I find hard to talk about. I look around and realize Veterus isn't around anymore, hence why Nefidu said that out loud. I feel a slight pang of nervousness in not knowing where he is, but I remind myself he's a senior scholar here. Maybe the Khemians appreciate his forwardness, especially after seeing Ramsey's behavior. We could go somewhere now, if you want.
Not right now. I can hear Amicus and Ramsey's coming back.
Sure enough, I hear them as I perk my ears. I quickly stand at attention as Amicus appears first. I can tell by his expression that he doesn't mean to stay, is simply nodding at me and Veterus.
I'm going to check to see if messages have arrived from Adastra yet. We'll meet tonight at...
22 hours are in a day, Amicus. Food will be offered at 17th hour.
Thank you, We'll meet after dinner at the 18th hour.
Amicus then walks briskly down the hall, toward our sleeping quarters. You gonna take a nap? My ears lower as I hear directing him through the halls, which are followed by his low growls of annoyance. There's a strange quiet in the air, and I turn and almost jump as I see Ramses staring right at me. His muzzle is pointing low now, and I think I understand why he makes a point of keeping his chin up. His sunken cheeks and his long nose make his muzzle noticeably bulbous and heavy-looking. I quickly lower my gaze, waiting to see if he addresses me.
I apologize, but who are you exactly?
I feel my face heat up under my fur. Even though he wouldn't know who I am, he asks the question in a way that makes it sound like, why are you even here? I am Scipio, scholar of Khemian history and culture. I am a student of Veterus.
Brilliant student! Adastra's future must be present for such important things.
Veterus' sudden reappearance is a mystery as he disappears before he's gone again. Yeah, okay. Either way, Ramses seems to lose interest with that last part.
Interesting. Nefidu, I need to converse with you in the throne room.
Oh, right away, Your Holy...
Shut up.
I jump and quickly look away, wishing I'd follow Veterus to where the hell he went. Even Brunus looks so surprised.
I know you had a great deal of fun tormenting me when we were younger. But I am the Vizier, and you are to treat me with respect, or you will leave. Your choice.
Neferu looks at his brother with an expression I can't quite describe, but it's deep and angry, and it's something I've never seen from Neferu before. Very well. And with that, Brunus and I left to stare at after the pair.
Guess things have changed.
Oh. 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 Okay. Virginia sits at the garden on one of the benches under the shade of the tree, wanting a break from the almost oppressive stuffiness of the throne room. And she knows she's supposed to be going through building and budget proposals for several minor cities, but she only finds herself staring at the page. She can't stop thinking about the series of events that led to this. While she's confident that Cassius's support will be enough to at least allow Adastra to function, she finds herself more concerned with what the other siblings are doing. It all seems so odd. Everything is lining up too perfectly, and not in their favor. Could this be the end of Adastra? Good afternoon, sister. I have some good news. And maybe some bad news, but Lupus has agreed to cooperate if I become co-ruler with you. A visceral shrug starts in the wolf's shoulder, but he squeezes his arms tighter together to hide it. Oh, Cass, I'm sorry you must go through this again, but you're doing work that I simply cannot do. More like they don't allow you to do your work. Are you alright? You look unwell. The stresses of ruling a rebelling moon aside. Virginia looks up at Cassius, at how he stands stiffly, arms crossed tightly, and can think back to all of the times she'd seen him just like that growing up. This is difficult for him to do. Not just politics and governance, but asking if she's alright. While her personality had been internally altered to feel less emotion, Cassius had experienced a childhood that made him hide from emotions. After their mother passed away, their father was always cold, even annoyed at the mere presence of Cassius. He's grown into a deeply emotional man who pretends emotions don't affect him. How could he not turn out that way? Not exactly, Cassius. I'm distracted by the behavior of a Morpha and I hide it. Hindi? Hindi, okay. Can you tell me more about what happened on Amorpha? Anything you overheard? Well, once news came that Amicus was leaving for Khemia, there was notable excitement in the air. Alex, still being tied to politics, allowed me some insight. I distinctly remember hearing one of them say, as long as the others fill their role, we can be done with all of this. I don't know who they are referring to specifically, but it sounded coordinated, hence why I escaped. Virginia reads a line on one of the documents and realizes she's reading it at least 10 times now. What do you make of it? Virginia leans back, rubbing her brow vigorously, now realizing why that Cretan triumvirate was pulling out of his fur. First, I apologize for not being fully present when I should be driving the push to stabilize Adastra, but I can't help but think about external threats. I have no doubt that co-ruling with you would bring instant order, but... Virginia sits forward, looking at Cassius in the eye. When was the last time the Pharaoh made a public appearance? Or when has anyone seen him? I'm not fully sure on that, but the last I heard about him was about 2 years ago. Did you hear he was visiting Amorpha? He was supposed to be there at the same time you were. No, I didn't even hear mention of him, and I should have, considering where I was. And he hasn't made any public appearances on Khemia for a year due to traveling the galaxy. For more, excuse me, for one reason or another, this is all based on the Vizier's statements. You think this has to be a setup? Possibly. But if it is, I don't think this was the initial goal. Now, with the Vizier in power and the Pharaoh missing, who's not to say this is a plot to destroy Adastra? This is what's coordinated by the parents, though, wasn't it? They couldn't possibly let it spiral to that extent, no matter how incompetent I think they are. Perhaps they've given up. Either way, they say they will not interfere, but tend to do so anyway. All I know is that they can't be relied on to make this work. Cassius is quiet, thinking. While it's hard to imagine Khemia being involved in treachery such as this, if they believe it's the only path to a stable Galaxius, like the Amorphous do, I suppose it's possible. I'm seeing strange patterns in Lupus's finances, wealth that came from a source that's nowhere near that much money, or no source at all. I believe they want a repeat of what happened 3 years ago, only far worse. Well, we do have an escape plan in place, though I'm not sure where we'd go if Khemia isn't safe either. A child settlement might be our only option. I am not running and hiding for the rest of my life that way. In fact, I would rather die here on Adastra. Well, I won't see you die here, otherwise I will as well. But for now, we should do our best to plan to keep Adastra stable. And if it happens, we'll have a plan by then. I truly hope I'm wrong. It does seem impossible that the parents would allow this to happen, but maybe they are in disarray as well. Maybe the Romanus have been ousted, and maybe our moon will become uninhabitable as a planet we orbit. Virginia, please. Let's just focus on Adastra right now. You have enough to think about. If it happens, then it happens. Our moon is well fortified, and we've withstood attacks from almost all siblings trying to invade our moon. Virginia holds back from telling Cassius that was likely only due to the fact that to defeat the wolves. That is what that says. Total invasion and destruction would be required. Whether out of moral principle or possibly even exhaustion, each sibling left with nothing signed. Adastra in ruins. Only Adastra can truly destroy itself, and I fear the consequences that will befall our people. While I don't believe a full-scale invasion is possible, I doubt the siblings would even attempt one, knowing what will happen just like 3 years ago. Do you believe people in Lupus who can investigate further? Do you have people? Okay. A few. I can at least ask them about Amorphins that might be living there. Lupus accepting help from Amorpha seems more far-fetched than anything else we've discussed. Virginia shrugs. Lupus's triumvirate system is corrupted to the point that it's now run by only a few families, the wealthiest ones, of course. And of course, Amicus couldn't just purge it, because that practically guaranteed bombs in the center of Adastra City, until we relent. Cassius becomes quiet, staring into the distance before speaking. It's a strange life we live, Virginia. How did we get here? Chance, consequence, and of course that bastard POTUS, who put us here. At least one of our questions has an answer, eh? Now, we'll keep our ears to the ground, but in the meantime, I'll help you with signing these documents. Oh, okay. Alright, everyone. I'm going to end the part here, so I do hope you all have enjoyed, and I'll see you guys around.